Before we get started, Talk Music Talk has a newsletter, a weekly email featuring the current week's guests, plus what past guests are up to. Also, I'll tell you about shows I've attended and new music that I like. To sign up, head on over to talkmusictalk.com, click on the link, subscribe to newsletter, and you are all set. That's talkmusictalk.com. And now for today's episode. Hello there. Welcome to another episode of Talk Music Talk with Boyce. I am Boyce. I am your host on this podcast here. Thank you for listening. If this happens to be your first time checking out Talk Music Talk, it is a weekly music interview podcast where I have long-form conversations with people who are connected to music from different genres and different backgrounds, performers, music therapists, and music journalists, and so much more, established and emerging, and people in between. And on this episode, I am ecstatic because the person I have interviewed has made one of the best albums of 2017. I don't say that lightly. His name is Beau Borek. He is a singer-songwriter currently based in Santa Cruz, California. And his new album, Different Generations, just came out. Is absolutely amazing. I first heard about Beau when he appeared on the Good Friends Volume 2 compilation, which was out earlier this year on Puppy Teeth Records, which is a cassette and digital label based here in Brooklyn. It is run by Madison Murphy, and I interviewed her on episode 120 of the podcast. Beau had a song on the compilation called New Year's Day, which was so wonderful. I had to send him a fan letter and tell him that whenever his album came out, I wanted to have him on the show. I rarely do remote interviews, basically because where I live on the main floor next to a noisy elevator and a noisy entrance. I happen to be cat sitting / house sitting for a friend in his quiet apartment. So I contacted Beau to do a FaceTime conversation. Glad I did. Great opportunity to talk to him on the eve of his release of his new album. As I said, Different Generations. We talk about a lot. His family background, his musical background, musical influences. We talk about Different Generations in detail, the inspiration behind it, and just the whole songwriting process. After the conversation, 2 songs from this album, Lloyd Part 1 and then Goals. Again, get the entire album. I will tell you how after the interview. Here it is, without further ado, my conversation with Beau Borek on Talk Music Talk. Enjoy. I saw that you have a background with improv.
I do.
I went deep, dude. I did like a vertical Google search on you. But
that's funny.
How'd you get started at improv? What brought that on?
I transferred to UC Davis. I'm living in Santa Cruz and transferred to UC Davis, and they just had an improv course one day, and I was like, I'll just sign up for that, and that got me started. And then when I transferred up to Portland, that was the only way I could make friends. And so I just knew that I wanted to join the improv team. They had one, and I was just like, hi, I'm joining your improv team. They're like, oh, okay. And I was lucky enough to not just be in the club, but be a part of the performance team. They allowed me to perform with them. I guess they thought I was good enough to perform with them. So that was really nice. And it was really, really, really fun.
Mm-hmm. What was your interest in it? Had you seen it and thought I'd like to do that one day, or you wanted to act?
I was taking acting courses, maybe just one acting course actually. And I think I was just not into the whole script thing and putting on these emotions that, somebody else is writing. And then somebody mentioned an improv thing, and I was like, I've kind of done that before.
Yeah.
And then jumped right into it. It was such a new way to be creative. It was there's nothing like it. It's coming up with something on the spot that's actually working. It's there's nothing like it. It's really, really gratifying.
And what did you discover? What did you learn about yourself or doing the whole improv thing?
What did I learn about myself? I learned I don't know. I'm really goofy. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I like to. I don't know. I haven't actually thought about that.
Oh, really? Okay.
I have a really good time like thinking on my feet, and I think that's kind of, that was really fun to like learn that. I don't know. I think I just like grew as a person. As far as like making connections with people, like understanding in real life, because like when you're on stage and all the pressure's on to like get a scene moving, that in order to support your teammates is that you need to take care of your own stuff. Like you need to be on top of yourself in order to help other people. Okay. So I think that's a larger lesson that improv has, is like, I know you want to like support other people, but in order to support people, you have to be on top of your own stuff.
Yeah. And did that help in any way with your music?
I can't think of anything like super directly. I do know that when I graduated that I had to make the choice between improv and music. And the whole time I was in college, I felt like I didn't have enough time to do music. And so when it was all over, I was like, I'm just going to do music now. Yeah. So it was very much like, it was really important to me. I spent a lot of time studying improv and like thinking about it and like trying to come up with my own ideas about how it would work better in our scenes. And then when I graduated, I was just like, I'm done with this and I'm ready to do music now. So I just like jumped right into it, which was pretty cool.
How do you get better at improv when you can't rehearse directly for it?
That's a really good question. Definitely rehearsal is the best way to do it, because you have to rehearse with your team and stay with a consistent team in order for things to be successful. Okay. Because everyone has their own styles and you need to be able to understand who you're working with. You can't, it's a lot easier when you know somebody and can expect kind of where they're going to end up. But what I would do is just kind of think about how I would handle scenes, things, and like I would just think about ways of supporting my my cast of people. Thinking about like, are questions okay? Because everyone says like questions, you're not allowed to ask questions. And then I was thinking about that. I'm like, you can ask questions, but the questions need to be informative questions. Like, instead of being like, what are you doing? That doesn't build anything in the scene. A question would be something like, oh, is your dad home yet from the grocery store? Because then in that reality, that person has a dad. The dad was at the grocery store and they may or may not be home yet. So that's actually adding something to the scene. Okay. So that's a way that a question could be. Okay. And with the first positive question also puts all the work on the other person too. Exactly. It's what they call pimping. Okay. Because you're like, I don't know what the scene's going to be about. I'm just going to like force this other person to come up with the stuff. So that's not helpful. That's not being a good scene partner. And I guess in general, nobody wants to be pimped, right? No, not anyone that I know at the moment. Do you miss improv? When I think about it, I do. Talking about it right now, I do, because it's such a fun, it's a different kind of activity. It's a different type of creative that I've never had before. Yeah. In practice, it was a lot of time and thought, and I think I want to put my energy into other things at the moment. So I don't actually miss it in practice. Okay. Yeah. Just like now when I made you think. It's like a nostalgic thing where like, that was such a fun time. Like Little League Baseball. Yeah, like, that was such a fun time, but I don't really want to play baseball right now. Yeah. Good. So where are you from? I'm from Santa Cruz, California. Okay. And how is it? Siblings, big family, little family? Pretty little family. I've got one sister. I've got a mom and a dad, and a grandma and a grandpa. Okay. And, obviously I had another grandma and grandpa, but my grandma recently passed. That was like a year a year and a half ago.
Okay, sorry about
No,
that.
it was like a year ago. It was a
Okay.
year ago, actually. I saw her last May, which was like the last time I saw her.
Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah, no, she was 94.
Really?
And healthy up until like the last 3 or 4 months. And it's like she was in her house the whole time.
Yeah.
Cognizant. And it's just like, I'm like sad because, death is like, it's a sad thing and it's scary, but it's like, that's the way to go,
Yeah, it is.
It doesn't feel tragic. It feels like a success. Like,
yeah. Did you any musical family?
My grandma is, she's the one musical person, and I know that her family's like really musical.
Okay.
She plays piano, and she plays. It was kind of funny. She she bought me a drum kit when I was 16, and she played it with me, but like the marching style. So she would she's like doing like drum rolls instead of like rock and roll kind of drums. It was pretty funny. I'm like trying to play rock and roll music and she's like doing drum rolls and stuff. She's pretty goofy. She's the best.
Okay. And so was that the first instrument, or you played other stuff before that?
The first instrument was guitar.
Okay.
When I was like 11 or 11, I think I was 11. And my grandma, actually, it was her guitar.
Okay.
And she
Same
gave
grandma?
it to me. Same grandma.
Okay.
It was a guitar that she apparently was practicing when my mom was younger. And they were trying to learn guitar together. And she gave me this guitar, which was a classical guitar, which has nylon strings.
Yeah.
But at the time, I didn't know. And she gave it to me. It had steel strings on it, like really heavy gauge steel strings. And I remember on my first lesson, we were at the house, and like we had a neighbor who like lived on our property who knew how to play guitar, and I was like really excited to learn these chords. And I was preparing for a lesson. He was just gonna like walk up to the house and like teach me some chords. And while I was waiting, my mom was like, "Hey, like, why don't you practice?" I'm like, "I don't know what to practice. I don't know guitar yet." And she's like, "Oh, like, why don't you just practice strumming?" And I was like, "Okay." And I'm like, "I don't have a pick though." She's like, here's a coin." She hands me this big coin, and I start strumming these metal strings without playing any chords. It's not in tune. It's just like a loud, harsh metal scraping against metal mess. It was like, but that was my first guitar day.
Okay. Did you show off for your teacher?
Yeah, check this out.
God. So did you always wanted to play guitar, or how'd that come about?
Yeah, I was like heavy into classic rock, and so I just wanted to be like a classic rocker for so long.
And who were your groups?
Led Zeppelin was. I had like a 2-year Led Zeppelin binge, and obviously like into AC/DC for a really long time.
Yeah.
I'm like laughing, like thinking about these bands because they're so ridiculous.
I had an AC/DC period, dude.
Yes, I think everybody does, and I feel when I listen to AC/DC now, it feels like such a middle school band to me, because I think that was the time that I listened to it, but it feels so juvenile. But that's okay. Not to make fun of anybody who listens to AC/DC now and likes it. But those were big bands to me. Yeah.
So were those the songs you were first trying to learn?
The Ocean by Led Zeppelin was my favorite. I love that song, but it was too complicated. Yeah. I really like the Time Signature because it has like that weird, like, kind of skippy. There's like a beat that's skipped or something. I can't. Yeah.
Wait, which one is that? Because I never know any of their titles.
It goes.
As soon as you hum it, I'll know. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
But ironically, I was never really into the whole guitar soloing.
Yeah.
So I still cannot guitar solo, but I don't know what my plan was. I was going to be a classic rocker, but refused to learn how to solo on the guitar.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking there.
So when did you start writing your own stuff?
In high school,
Okay.
I was writing a lot of just like really sad, like very explicitly sad things. I was very desperately in love with a lot of people who weren't in love with me.
So these are unrequited love songs.
Exactly, but like pretty harshly written. Like I was in like a long distance internet relationship with a person, and like wrote a lot of songs about like how we couldn't be together because she was so sad, and like it was really messy. It was really messy songwriting.
Did you share the songs with the person?
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah, definitely not.
Did you share those songs with anyone?
I have shared the lyrical content with a lot of my friends, and because it's like really funny.
Now.
Really bad stuff. Yes, it's funny now. At the time, it was like I was so passionate.
So when do you think you wrote a song that you were like, okay, this is good? Or you felt proud of to share? Yeah,
that's actually like a very defining moment. It was actually after I decided to not do improv. It was after college. It was like that summer I started, because it was 3 years basically where I stopped playing guitar and I stopped writing. And so like I think I did a lot of growing, and that was during improv time. I was doing all this growing, and then at the end of college, end of improv, I started writing songs, and I was in a band up in Portland called Northeast Senate. And my really good buddy, like longtime friend and music partner, and I like were in a band together, and he moved up. We both graduated at the same time. He was in UCLA. He moves to Portland. We start writing songs, and like suddenly, like I just feel like these songs are actual songs. I feel like I had enough inspiration and enough direction in my music to actually like write songs I was proud of. So
and in the band, were you just playing guitar or singing?
It was a 3-piece. It was me, my partner Caitlin, and Asher is his name. Asher Toback. So we all would sing. He and I would play guitar. That was our live performances. We would harmonize with each other and stuff. But beyond the live performances, we had a lot of layers and like electronic elements that we were adding into our recordings and stuff.
Yeah. And did you miss the music when you were doing the improv, or the improv was a good replacement at the time?
It was a good replacement at the time. I knew that I wanted to do music, and it was always like one of those things that was like hanging over my head that I wanted to pursue, but it felt like a good way to put music on hold and kind of engage my college life, because all these people were attending my college, and it's good to have friends when you're in college and in general to have friends. And so it felt good to invest in that time, which was through improv.
And what did your influences migrate to once the metal was over? Or in the background?
So when I was a kid, I was like really into like kind of like really sloppy, like what at the time felt sloppy was like Fratellis. Remember the Fratellis?
Yeah.
I was like really into the Fratellis and like getting really into like really harsh like the Blakes. I don't know if you know the Blakes.
No.
But, like their vocals are so harsh, and like listening to it now, it's like, oh my gosh. Sorry, the Blakes. But
I will check them out.
Then my girlfriend at the time made me a mix CD of like all these like really reeling it back to like really soft and like delicate music, and that's kind of when I was getting into Sufjan Stevens music, and he was like my biggest influence for sure in music. Come on, Feel the Illinois is like that was like the biggest turning point from like, oh, like I'm a man, but I'm allowed to sing soft.
Okay.
I can write pretty music. That's okay. And then Age of Odds was like a big album for me because it allowed me. I was such a purist when I was a teenager. I was like, if you can't play the instrument, why are you even playing music at all?
Yeah.
So I was really anti-electronic elements. And he just killed it on this album with electronic elements. I was like, okay, that's okay now. Yeah, you can be artful with electronic elements and auto-tune. I was like so anti-auto-tune. And there's that one part in Impossible Soul. If I'm not sure if these references are hitting at all, but he like makes such this auto-tune. I don't know auto-tune, but he does it.
Changed your mind.
Yeah.
So did you have to learn electronic stuff?
Yeah, I kind of everything that I do beyond my neighbor Owen teaching me those guitar chords, I've taught myself.
Okay.
So I taught myself drums. My buddy Troy and I would go to the arcade at the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk and go to the drum machine, and it would just like have the electronic drums in front of me, and like it would play the song overhead, and you could just like smash on these drums. We'd do it for hours and hours and hours. Spent so much money at the drum machine learning how to drum. And then my grandma bought me the drum set. Got a synth, was learning to play some synth. I dabble in a lot of things. So everything's like enough to get the sound. Good enough for me. Yeah.
Cool. So you've got the new EP coming out?
Yeah, it's coming out. I'm excited.
Yeah. So what's it called?
It's called Different Generations.
Okay. And sorry. So what led to that?
It was kind of like 3 years in the making now, because I graduated in 2014. Performed music with Northeast Senate for like 2 years. I was writing a lot of these songs during that time.
Okay.
And Northeast Senate has a unfinished EP that's currently on my computer that I need to finish.
Okay.
But these are songs that I did not use for that EP that I recorded myself and just decided to kind of put everything out there and kind of, because I'm really proud of these songs, but they feel like I need to get these out here and done so I can move on.
Okay.
Kind of.
Got it.
Yeah.
And how are these songs different from the Northeast Senate stuff?
The mood, I would say, is different. The Northeast Senate was kind of I'd say leans Fleet Foxes.
Okay.
It's like those ones definitely feel a little different. But me recording by myself, I tend to record my songs differently than when it was in a group. We had our buddy Keegan record our stuff up in Portland. Keegan Curry, if you for anybody who's listening, Keegan, shout out.
Hey, Keegan.
He recorded us, and so when I was recording by myself, they just ended up a lot different. And kind of, I doubled a lot of vocals, I doubled a lot of guitar, so it's kind of just has a different mood to it.
Okay. And how many songs are on there?
It's a 10-song EP.
Okay.
It's one of the heftier EPs, I can say.
I like that. 10-song EP. Okay. And are there like themes throughout, common themes? Stuff you return to?
Yeah. I write a lot of songs about just family. It's a family and just like relationships in general, just kind of complexities and just thoughts about relationships.
Yeah.
So, my family's like currently going through something pretty tumultuous. So I think the last song on the EP's Different Generations is the title track. And that one's about my mom and my dad, like kind of, parting ways for now. So it's all about family. And,
Does it help you like cope with the actuality by writing about it through music?
I think it helps me kind of figure out where, like, the true emotion behind it. Like, I wrote a song about my uncle, which is New Year's Day, the same song that was on Maddie's release, Puppy Teeth. That one is about my uncle, and I had so many thoughts about it, and I didn't quite understand why I wanted to write about him. He just recently passed.
Okay.
It was a year ago on New Year's Day, which is why it's called that. Okay.
Gotcha. Sorry, a lot of loss.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of losses happening currently, which is it's a new thing. Like, my family was always such a tight, cohesive unit. And as we all get older, like, relationships start to unfold. They unfold in the sense that you understand them better.
Okay.
And that everything's not perfect. Everything's not like the perfect nuclear family. Everybody has their own issues and thoughts and troubles within their relationships. And so that's really what this whole EP is about.
Okay.
And so, like, when I was writing about my uncle, I had so many complex feelings. He was in and out of my life due to, like, addiction and things like that. And in the end, I found that my real issue was that I didn't know if I could really consider him my uncle, because he was so out of the picture for so long. Yeah. So that's, like, the real struggle within that song. So writing it helped me figure that out.
And have you shared the songs with the family yet?
Yeah. Yeah, they are supportive. But every time I talk with my mom, and she's like, I told her that I wrote a new song. She's like, oh God, I hope it's not about me. I give you so much material. It's like, I guess you do, but it's not your fault. So every time I say I write a new song, they're kind of scared that I'm just gonna, like, tear them apart.
Oh God, I get that. And let's see. So, what do you got a release party coming up in Portland and all that, or music? Are you touring or doing performances and stuff?
I am not currently performing. We moved from Portland back to Santa Cruz. We live in my dad's house, and kind of figuring out where our next leg of our, where our path is going to lead. And so we have been, like, practicing a little bit here and there, but I figured since, I'm a small name, I could just, like, release something locally and, like, people, it wouldn't, like, I feel like a party is not, like, super necessary for it, but I want to perform. Just gotta, like, figure out where we're gonna be and, like, what we're gonna do, kind of get things situated.
And right now, isn't everything local with the internet?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. So, best place for people to keep up with you, get the album? I've got, like, 4 days trying to get all those things in line. Well, this will come out after the release, so.
Yeah. I'm trying to think about where I want to push it. Okay. 'Cause I have a website, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to release it on there, but it's also might be on Bandcamp. I might do both. I'm just kind of like, maybe I should do both. Maybe that's helped me decide what I'm going to do.
Well, you can let me know, and I will mention that.
Yeah. I'm going to do both. Let's just do both.
Okay. Yeah. You heard it here first.
It's going to be on beauborek.com and Bandcamp.
Yeah. They're fighting to see who will carry it first to get the exclusive.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. You got to just put it out there, Beau.
I'm gonna, trying to. it's going to be out there. I have no choice. I've announced it. So.
Yes. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing the whole thing because I've liked everything I've heard so far.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks so much for interviewing. I'm really excited about it.
Sure. Appreciate it. Sure. Appreciate you doing it.
I try for the very first time to not have a goal in mind, can you and I try and spend some time to see where we lie? Love, can you and I try for the very first time to not have a goal in mind? Can you and I try and spend some time to see what we are like? Love,
You just heard 2 tracks from Beau Borek's Different Generations. That was Goals. And before that, Lloyd Part 1. Go to his Bandcamp site to get the digital copy, beauborek.bandcamp.com. That's spelled BeauBorek. You can also get Different Generations on Spotify and check it out there. And then you can go back to Bandcamp and purchase the digital copy so you can support great independent music. Can't recommend the album enough from start to finish. You will play it once, then start over and play it again. That's right, it's that good. I'm online several places, several ways, talkmusictalk.com for podcast information and to stream every single episode. I also have a personal website, which is thisisvoice.com, and you can read excerpts from the books that I write. They are novels, and also check out my music. And if you are on Instagram, follow me there at thisisvoice. Call to action for you. Download the Talk Music Talk app. It is free for iPhone and Android, and you get every single episode of TMT. You can get the app wherever you like to get your apps generally, or you can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or Google Play. It's also on Stitcher and TuneIn and a bunch of other places. Please leave a 5-star rating wherever you listen to it at, especially if you are on iTunes, because it helps increase the ranking of the podcast and exposes the show to more and more people. And also, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you in advance. You can also find the podcast on SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/thisisvoice. And you can also check out my music there in addition to episode 100 and on. That's right, starting from episode 100 with Carlos D, former bassist of Interpol. He is now Carlos Dangler and an actor. That's episode 100, soundcloud.com/This Is Boys. And don't forget, episode 120 with Madison Murphy, the Puppy Teeth label where I first discovered Beau's music. Episode 120, Madison Murphy. Thank you so much for listening. Till next time, and there will be a next time. This one's for you, Liz.